Hello everyone and welcome to Season 3 of VRP. I am your commentator and we are in China for the launch of Season 3. It's been a long time since I had to do this, let's get back into it. Right, let's get all the details up. Right, yes, we are back for Season 3 in China. The host of Round 1 last season, once again it is the host here, and plenty of team changes, plenty of new drivers, switching teams. I won't go through every switch of team, but I'll go through the new drivers. We have 4 not new faces. This season we haven't got any new faces on the grid, but we have 4 reserves becoming full-time drivers. We have Bino Bentel, has Dylan's former teammate back in VRP full-time, now Dylan's brother's teammate in the Alfa Romeo. Himself and Charlie have moved there together. Elsewhere we have Rapid, who's jumped into the Williams. 3 out of 3 race wins last season in his VRP career, 3 starts, 3 wins. He's gone to the team that finished last in the Constructors last season, alongside TM Ducky, who has stayed at Williams. Blaze Tim finally getting himself a full-time seat as far as he's concerned. He's made plenty of reserve appearances, has reserved for 6 out of the 10 teams. He's finally found himself a seat at Alpine, where he scored Alpine's best finish last season of P4 as a reserve, and now he's moved there full time. His permanent teammate Giotto isn't here today, but he should be getting a reserve of Felper alongside him for round 1. Felper, who's dropped down as a full time to reserve this season, and the other full time driver now is King Enzo, who joins his fellow King Kiski in the Haas. We'll see what kind of form they can bring together. Been teammates before once as both reserves. That was back in Season 1 Brazil. As the quali session is getting underway, the first few drivers setting laps. I think Charlie will be the first to come across the line to start a lap. In terms of reserves for today, we have Vaxi, who reserved at the last race in Season 2. And then we also have Darth FIFA in the Red Bull. Hasn't made a reserve appearance since I think it was Season 1, where he retired at Austria. But he's back in the Red Bull, and alongside, well, not alongside him, but also on the grid, Lightning Luke has returned, our Season 1 champion. We'll see if he can continue what he left off quite a while back. Hasn't raced, of course, since he won the title, since he clinched it from Dylan in the final round of Season 1. But he is back, and he is in the Ferrari in place of Dolga 16. So, that is the driver changes underway. Lewis is the fastest driver so far, just 100th ahead of Rapid. Harry, Tim, King Enzo, Charlie, all behind them as Lord Purcell slots his car into P5, and we'll go further back to see Avesta on his lap in Sector 2. These corners, such a fun part of the track, and now we get into the more technical, slower part. Got to make sure not to run too wide there. You don't want to invalidate your lap, or you just don't want to ride the curb, grind along it and lose time down the straight. Now into this second kind of snaily corner. There is a real lack of grip through here. He kept it together. He did have a bit of a squirrely moment, but he's through. And along the long straight, he does have DRS for about 60% of the straight. Hard braking zone into such a tight hairpin. He's locked the rears, maybe helped slightly with the rotation, although I don't think he meant it. Into the final corner, it's a tight left-hander. Very easy to invalidate there, very easy to run wide and lose it. Avesta, our champion, reigning champion, slots his car into P3 ahead of Harry behind Rapid. and the majority of drivers now setting their first laps. With Afonso, once again, I've just seen on the medium tyre strategy. China are very optimistic to try and set a competitive lap on this tyre. But the top 3, top 4, top 5, you'd have to say, are proper title contenders. There are so many title contenders in this season. Lewis, Rapid, Avesta, Harry, Tim, just some of them. But as you look down the grid, you know, you got Lord Percival, King Enzo has the potential to throw together a good season. Charlie's a race winner, and Afonso, of course, the challenger last season. Had such a good battle with Charlie here last season, if you can remember. He came out second best in that one, but he did go on to win 2 races last season. 3 wins overall in VRP. And he put his lap on the mediums into the top 10. Sure, he'll be going for an even better one once he's strapped on a set of softs. Anyone else on a lap? Lightning Luke low on fuel yet to set a proper lap. TM Ducky's down on his time. And out of everyone who's set a proper lap, he's currently sitting last with both AlphaTauris yet to set a lap. Quentin has a quali ban, so you won't see one from him, but his teammate in the 19 car, warming up his tyres to start his lap. AlphaTauri, the reigning team's champions. Can they continue that form? We'll see when Omar comes across the line to start his lap how that will go, and he's nearly turned in too early already. Not the confidence boost he needs before he starts the lap, but round the final corner, he keeps it within track limits and he can start his lap. DRS open. Shifting up to 8th and starting the lap we go. Car on the inside, but that will be easily out of the way as we go through the long right-hander. It almost never ends. And behind the barrier he went, turning into turn 2 and 3 and 4 I think is in there as well. Careful with the power, but he's got it back down. A kink to the right, end sector 1 for you, and then you have to brake for this hairpin. Back onto the power, right, to up to 3rd, up to 4th, up to 5th, and it's a flat out, I believe, left-hander. It is flat out, and Omar has the bravery to pull that off. The right-hander is, of course, not flat out. In fact, it's a braking zone, followed by a double hairpin as he gets the rear out on the curb, and then grinds along the next curb. A bit of a scruffy section there from Omar, who's looking to set his first lap of the session, looking to put in a proper banker. He's scared of the exit there as he shifts up 2 gears up to 5th, and now he can have relative calm as he opens the DRS, can take a little bit of a breather along this long straight, but before you know it, you got to zone in because the braking zone is ahead. Doesn't take as early as an apex as he almost did on his outlap, and to the final corner he comes. You don't want to throw it away now, and he was very easy through the last corner to the line. Omar goes, it's P13. Lightning Luke has set a lap, and he's the car just ahead in P12. So the top 10 largely remaining unchanged since the last time we looked in on it, but King Enzo, Lord Percival, Lim Huiz is up there as well. It's a good performance from him. And Lewis, who is the current quickest so far, is starting another lap. He's got a Williams just ahead. That will be off Rapid, so another contender in this session is the car just in front of him. And then there's a Ferrari just ahead of that, which will be Lord Percival, who's also got pace. He says he struggles at China, but he's got pace regardless. As Lewis snakes his way around the long corner. Number 3 Red Bull. We've seen that before. Maybe see it again in the future at some point. As Sector 1 ends for him, into Sector 2 he goes. He's of course going to keep it flat out. How tight to the curb can he keep it? And then can he keep the speed up through here? He can. And you got to be so brave to chuck it through there and not lose the rear, not run too wide. If you run wide, you ruin your exit for the end of Sector 2 straight. But he's a 10th and a bit up Rapid, we don't know how far up he is on his time. But we know Lewis is improving. We know Lewis is doing his business so far. So yeah, good shot of the rear wing, and it's about to open for him. As along the straight he comes. If we jump back, Lord Purcell's about to come to the line through the final corner. He's 2/10 up. This will put him up the order within the top 10, up to P5. Rapid will be next. He's a 10th up. And with 6.5 minutes to go, he puts himself up to provisional pole. That's more than just a 10th. He's 3/10 clear. Half a 10th clear as Lewis completes his lap. And it's a 30.5 exact. Avesta behind is on his lap. He's at a purple sector 2. Debuting for Mercedes, the Season 2 champion in the number 13, gets his DRS open, maybe picks up a distance slipstream off the two Hasses in front who are setting up their laps. Into the braking zone he comes. Don't run it out too wide, but get back on the power as soon as you can, straighten the car up into the final corner. Want to take as much momentum into here, but you don't want to run wide. He hasn't done so. To the line, Avesta gets tight to Lewis and Rapid, but stays P3. And that front three are just heating up the battle more and more. Felper is in. We have a full grid for yet another race, which is great to see. As further back, I'm not sure if Harry's on the lap. He is not. He's slowing down. Afonso's on the lap. Certainly he's on the lap. He's on the soft tyres now. He's strapped them on. He's fired up. This could put him to top. Well, it puts him in the top 4. He's lost some time at the end. No, he hasn't. I'm just misreading some of the times there. But top 4, not bad. Ahead of Bino, who's still been in the pits. He's first quali session since Season 1. Of course, had a whole season ban in Season 2 for an incident at the end of Season 1. And, well, he's looking to minimalise his session here with just 2 runs, it seems. Charlie's following that suit as well. His teammate is Vaxi, the reserve in the McLaren. Made 1 appearance so far in VRP, and that was the last round of Season 2. The last round we ran. And he had a very impressive performance. Don't think he qualified too far off the top 10. If not, he qualified within it. And he went on to score a points finish as he snaked his way through the corner, a bit unsure on the exit, and certainly rode the curve a bit more than he probably would have liked, but keeps it tight to the kink, and then brakes in a straight line, hits that apex, and onto the power he goes. Reserving for hazard time in the McLaren. McLaren hoping to score a good haul of points. They started last season so well. Felper getting a podium in that car, and his teammate Quentin came into the season as it went on. But they just struggled at the end, just fell short and fell their way down the grid as the season went on to a P7 finish in the end, or a P8 finish, sorry. Ahead of only Alpine and Williams. Of course, Williams are topping the session as of now, so that's already picking up for them. Vaxi, though, is coming to the end of his lap, hard on the brakes, into the final corner, just him and Charlie on track, just Vaxi on the lap at the moment. Charlie will be starting his just soon as he comes to the final corner as well. Vaxi, though, is round the final corner to the line, P16 to P10, gets himself in that top 10. McLaren 8th and 10th at the moment, and will he get back in time to start a lap? Charlie is committing to doing the early lap, and he's going to commit to potentially coming into some traffic. But he's going to start his lap now with that beautiful blue and yellow helmet. Into turn 1 he goes, which turns quickly to turn 2. He had a famous line through here, pulled so many overtakes off round the outside with his battle with Fonso, his battle with Harry. Had a battle with Tim Rolfish at the start of that race as well in the wet conditions. But sector 1's complete and he's 4/10 up. He needs big improvements because he's way off the pace for his liking. Currently P17. The Red Bull keeping way out of the way for him. Revs it through in 6th gear. He does not want to let go of that gear. Down 1 and into the double left-hander. The Williams keeping out the way as well. The traffic, which could have been a concern, has kept distance so far. It's an apparent sector to purple. Fastest of anyone, and he's 9 tenths up. This will get him high up the order, probably not towards the front, and with a little moment like that, it won't help. But Bino will give him a slipstream. We saw this last season with himself and Dylan, but Bino has kept himself in the way, and Charlie had to avoid him, so that's going to lose him just that bit more time, probably lose him more than the slipstream would have gained him. And as into the final corner he comes, he rides the curve, struggled to get back onto the power safely, had to rev out in third. Through the final corner, DRS arrives for him, and Charlie gets his car up into P6 just behind his new teammate Bino, who is setting up his lap. And when we look back towards the contenders at the front, it's Rapid who's the first off them. It'll be Rapid who's behind Tim Rolfish and Bino. Charlie slowing down in Sector 1, Sector 2 now. I'm sure he'll be looking to return the favour to Bino. But Rapid keeping it clean in Turn 1 and Turn 2. That's probably the cleanest we've seen it so far, but clean doesn't always mean quick. As to Sector 1 we come, and we see he is up by a tenth. Locks it up into that turn though. I'm not sure if that's the quickest way through, but it certainly didn't look slow. More yellow flags where Charlie is. He's definitely slowing it down. Darth Beef has had an incident off the track, and that's his quali ended. He'll get a maximum of P13 today to start the grid. And Rapid having more squirrely moments. It looks quick, but it looks scruffy. He's more than a tenth up though. This is his best lap. This could be the best lap of the session, as the Alfa Romeos give each other a slipstream, and Tim Rollfish is coming to the line. The last car across the line is an Aston Martin, so that'll be Alfonso or Harry to look towards at the end of the session. Checkered flag is falling, and Rapid is coming to the line with some pace. Through the final corner, locks up that front left again. Tim Rollfish's time doesn't move in position. He stays P9 with Bino taking it to the top. That's a shock. But Bino Bentel is on provisional pole as Rapid was down on his time. He gave up on it at the end as Lewis has crashed out as well. It's all falling Bino's way. At the end here, Omar will come to the line next, and he moves his car up into P11 just outside the top 10. Blazed him to the line. A great quali from him, gets himself up to P6. Avesta's teammate Limhuis will be up next, and he moves himself into P6. Speaking of Avesta, he's coming through this penultimate corner. The Ferrari of Lightning Luke stays down in P16, a disappointing quali for him, and Avesta dives into the pits. So no improvement for him. Afonso's down on his time. Harry and Lord Percival will be the last remaining challengers. Lord Percival in the Ferrari. Can he take his first pole in VRP? Through the final corner. DRS activated. Lord Percival to P7. Harry yet to get a pole. He performed so well at this track last season, but through the final corner, that's more than just scruffy. And to the line he comes. He was 3 tenths down, and he stays P10. Bino Bentel back in qualifying, back as a full-time driver, and back to pole. Alfa Romeo hit the fronts, hit the form they had at the end of last season, and have they got the man to replace Avesta? Bino from Rapid, from Lewis, from Avesta, from Afonso. That's a top 5 that is sure to cause drama. Limhuis with an impressive quali. I think that matches his best ever quali in VRP, at least as a full-time driver. He's in P6. Lord Percival and Blaze Tim 7th and 8th. The pole sitters teammate in P9 with Harry in P10. So both Aston Martins, both Alfa Romeos, both Mercedes in the top 10. Tim Rolfus just fell outside the top 10 at the end with King Enzo in 12th. Omar in the AlphaTauri in P13. Vaxi and Darth FIFA. Lightning Luke in P16. King Kiski in 17th. Ducky and Quentin 18th and 19th. And I'm not sure if Felper actually was able to get into a car because he's not set a lap. So unlike last season, it's dry from the start. Will it be wet at the end though? Bit of drama at the end? Who knows? Only the drivers know. I'm not allowed that information, unfortunately, because driver bias. Thanks, EA. So 20 cars on the grid. Felper did get in, missed quali, but the FIA have allowed him into his car. Not his car, Giotto's car. Hasn't stolen it, but reserving. Any strategy differences? Yeah, throughout the field, most taking the mediums, including our pole sitter and the remainder of the top 11. Rapid, the sole one on the hards, and I did see him say just before the race that only the elite people start on hards, so that makes himself, King Enzo, Darth and King Kiski in his mind the elites. The soft runners, the bold runners in this, Lightning, Luke and Felper, and 3 already from the mid pack have got themselves reset to the grid. It was always gonna come. So, with Rapid on the hards, he's gonna have a worse start than those around him. He'll just want to find his place though. He won't want to get caught up in any chaos in lap 1 with having a bit of an offset. And if he can find his place in the race, and settle down and settle on his own race, he'll certainly put himself within a chance of winning, because Rapid is Rapid, and if he knows his own strategy will work, he's certainly a threat. You see the cars weaving along the straight, some weaving, some staying as cold as Kimi Räikkönen down that straight. One of the Hatters taking it to huge extent, so onto the grass he went. King Enzo, he's on the hards to be fair, he needs those things heated up if he's going to get anything that resembles a flying start. We'll keep an eye on the position change off the start, but we will do that once lap 1 has begun. Lap 1 of season 3. How will it go down? Felper, we await for the last car to set on the grid in his debut full-time team at the end of season 1. That Alpine has lined itself up, and we await the start. Bino from Rapids. The lights come on. It's 1, it's 2, it's 3, it's 4, it's 5. And the lights are out, and away we go, and Bino gets a great start away from Rapid on the hards, and behind him he's getting swallowed up with Lewis pulling alongside. Into turn 1 we go. Bino goes wide, Rapid takes the inside line, and Lewis looks to squeeze himself around the outside of him. Down the inside he goes, and into P2 he goes. Further back, everyone seems to have kept it clean. No, they haven't. That's Charlie around. Tim Rollfish involved with him. Both Ferraris and a Haas as well off into the gravel. Drama throughout the field there. And back at the front there's a safety car, virtual safety car. Bino, Lewis, Rapid keeping that top 3 position, and a 5-second penalty for Felper. Collision with Omar, as the order on the timings is trying to sort itself out. But Bino from Lewis from Rapid off the start, and Avesta just behind that. Chaos at the start after saying the majority had kept it clean. Well, both Ferraris found themselves in the gravel. A Haas involved in that. It would have been King Enzo, who's at the back now, and we saw Charlie spun around by Tim Rollfish, who lost his wing. But we are back under green flag racing, and King Enzo has got a 5-second penalty for overtaking under virtual safety car, and one of the Alpines has run his whole way along the curve onto the straight. He'll be under pressure. That's Blaze Tim, and Kinkiski's on his back, but on the back of Lewis is Avesta, who has moved himself up to P3. And in fact, well, I thought Rapid was up into P3. He's down to P10. It wasn't a timing glitch. I just haven't got used to the change of cars of different drivers yet. So something's happened to Rapid. He's down to P10 on the hards. They said he needed to keep it clean to maximise his own strategy, but down to P10 he went. Not the ideal start for himself, but if he can settle himself in now, he'll definitely lend himself well into the race, and he's past Kinkiski into turn 1 and 2. And at the front, it's Bino, Lewis, Avesta and Afonso, who have created a 9/10 margin from Afonso's teammate Harry. And further back there, Omar has had a flying start, up from I think P12. He's now in P6. We'll look at the position change, and Omar is up 7. Darth FIFA behind him, who crashed out at quali at the end on the hards, is up 8. And Felper from the back of the grid, he has a penalty, but he's up 10. Liam, who had such a great quali, I missed that. He's down 11. He must have got involved in the incident that had Charlie and Tim out on lap 1, or down the order on lap 1, and Lord Purser, of course, as well, had issues on that lap. But if we look away from that, at the front, it's still Bino controlling the field, but Lewis, this will be his first chance to overtake, really, if he wants to go for it, of course. Does he want to cause a big battle that will probably just continue throughout the race, because Bino will get the DRS when that's activated, but Lewis went for it, and he's almost scared Bino off the track, because when it came to traction, Bino had none. Off the track he went, and off the podium positions he goes, down to P4. Avesta behind was caught up in some sort of way, because he stayed behind, whereas Harry has jumped the two of them. Well, it seemed like a lunge from Lewis, and it certainly was, because he only just stayed on track. Bino, potentially unaware, wasn't able to get any sort of switchback, and he found himself with no traction, and a bit of an issue there. Well, contact between himself and Avesta there. Both keep it in the same direction, but Avesta is the car ahead now, with Afonso and Lewis the top two. And Harry, Avesta, Bino, despite everything, still within touching distance, but without DRS anymore to the top two. Further back there was a yellow flag, but I'm not sure what for. Everyone's still in the same direction. Lord Percival, Tim Rollfish have had to pit. I expect Limhuis and Charlie have as well, yeah, because they're on one lap old hard tyres. Tim, he's gone to the mediums. I'm not sure if he started on the hards or not. I don't think he did, because he was in P11, and I said the top 11 apart from Rapid started on mediums, so that answers my own question. Will Afonso get past Lewis? We'll get the answer to that question as well. Yes, he will, and quite easily. Lewis doesn't battle that one too hard until we get to the braking zone. He dives it on Afonso. This time, though, Lewis doesn't scare Afonso for traction, but then what a move by Lewis into the final corner. I think Afonso probably backed out there. We'll take the DRS instead into turn 1 as further back wow, I was going to say further back Avesta gets a move done, but Lewis, with a hugely defensive move on Afonso, pushes him onto the grass. And well, that will be a contentious move from Lewis to keep the lead there by forcing his rival onto the grass. Afonso won't like what he saw, but he'll keep his cool, and well, he'll get the DRS opportunity to go for it again. And Lewis has driven boldly already in the first 4 laps of this race. Afonso, who missed out on the last lap of last season's race here, will want revenge, will want a vengeance, and well, I think a move like that from Lewis isn't going to put him off. What it has done is allowed the cars behind to catch back up. We saw Avesta with the move on Harry. He's through. I think Harry's lacking the pace of the top, well, out of the top 5. I think he's the odd one out in terms of pace. I think these 4 have immense pace, and anyone in the field is going to find that hard to match. As further back, Rapid has had another kind of issue, because he's dropped back to P13, and dropping back into the clutches of Afonso is Lewis. He defends the inside, then moves over. Will he go for another dive? Afonso saw it coming, defends it, but Lewis has gone for it. And if the camera had changed, we would have seen he would keep the position. And Avesta will now be licking his lips as he's right up the backside of Afonso. Afonso will have the DRS though, and he can attack Lewis. So this could be a couple of position changes here as Lewis defends the inside a bit earlier this time. Afonso looks to go around the outside. They touch wheels. As into turn 2 they go. Turn 3 now. We'll give the inside to Afonso. And when it's all said and done, they'll stay alongside each other. At the end of Sector 1, Lewis leads by about a hair's width. And keeps it down the inside to keep the position. No switchback available for Afonso. And just like that, this top 5 are nose to tail on lap 5. Lewis will lead as they come to the DRS straight yet again. And what he'll keep doing is just diving it into turn 14 and keeping himself ahead despite the DRS. And he's got so much more ERS than Afonso. But ERS advantage or not, he has the DRS advantage. And with the slipstream as well, that's only going to put him closer as Felper has had a spin or a moment at the back. He's lost several positions. He's down to P11 on the softs. Maybe they're dying as Lewis down the inside yet again forces Afonso close to the curb and forces Afonso to remain in P2. But yet another DRS zone comes up, and can he pull yet another defensive move to stay ahead? Yes, and Martin closing in. Lewis wants that inside line. Afonso to the outside. There's contact. And when we saw the two lines converge, you could always see it was coming. Lewis is around. And with the gap behind that Omar has created, it's only down to P8. Rapid car in P9 now, just behind him. And just behind Vaxi is the car that spun. It's Lewis down to P9 from the lead. His defence falls short from a collision with Afonso, the now race leader. And Afonso may be thinking that could be a bit of karma from the defensive move Lewis pulled on him earlier. Lewis though, not giving up, makes the position up to P7, and Vaxi loses yet another one. Rapids through on him as well. Lewis now with his teammate ahead of him. As a moment for Avesta there, he catches it, a lot of run off to catch it in, and prevents a spin, and hopefully for himself a warning, as Lewis has Rapid behind him after they both got past Vaxi. Omar holding off Darth FIFA still, and at the front, Avesta is within DRS range of Afonso. Afonso has focused on attack all race so far. He'll have to focus on defence, and defence without much ERS as well. It may be difficult, but Bino's past Harry. Just behind them, Bino, who was in the lead, who got pole, is back into the podium positions. Blaze Tim past King Kiski, and further back, Omar was passed by Darth FIFA. So the cork in the bottle, slightly released for Darth FIFA anyway, who's on the hards, the highest driver on that strategy now, and Avesta yet to get past Afonso. Nothing doing into turn 1, 2, 3 or 4. Those corners coming quickly at you here at the Shanghai International Circuit. Darth FIFA and Omar continue their battle further back. They're side by side. Can Omar complete the move when they appear around the corner? Well, he's ahead by a bit, but the inside isn't going to be to him. The inside is in fact going to be to Lewis, who saw that one coming. Oh, certainly the two drivers ahead of him didn't, and Rapid will follow him through. A dive from Lewis to make it 3 wide gives the position to Lewis and Rapid. I'm sure Darth FIFA and Omar won't be the most impressed, but Omar has gone from 5th to 8th in the matter of a lap. Unfortunate for the driver driving for the team's champions, as Rapid has a bit of a moment on his hards. He's now the driver, the lead driver on the hard strategy, as a lock up to his front left yet again. It's something he's going to have to manage as the race goes on, if he wants to take those hard tyres to a comfortable point, so he can strap on a set of fresh mediums for the end of the race. As Avesta getting a bit of fresh air, a little bit of a look into the braking zone as well, but stays behind Afonso. Will pick up the DRS into turn 1, and will he go for a move this time? the two main title protagonists from last season. Ended up finishing first and third between the two of them. And he looks to the inside, but stays behind once again. A much more passive approach than the one Lewis had taken. And maybe having seen Lewis and the outcome of that, that may be a reason why he's taken it. But he sticks behind the Aston Martin and can practically smell the fumes from the back of it. As he locks the tyres into turn 6. And Vaxi's out the race. Further back, Vaxi has pitted and retired, so no safety car. And I'm not quite sure why, but maybe a bit of wing damage and a lack of faith himself. But he's out the race. Our first retirement of the race, the first retirement of season 3. And it means that McLaren sit 19th and 20th in this race. Not the start to the season they would have wanted. Speaking of that McLaren, it's Tim Rollfish at the back of Lord Percival. And the driver reserve who has a time is the one who is first out of the race. Will Avesta go for the move this time? He looks to the inside, but once again brakes earlier than Afonso. And I think all the time he does this, he's tricking Afonso into thinking he won't go for the move. It's the boy who crowed wolf, but the opposite, because when he eventually does go for the move, will Afonso be expecting it? Further back, Bino unable to get into the DRS of the two ahead, but Harry keeping within it. And Bino able to hold off Harry so far. He's been ahead of him for 3 or 4 laps and has kept that third position since he won it back from the Aston Martin driver. And Rapid, who's now 6.2 behind the leaders, has made his way through the field. He's passed Lewis. Lewis, who is the leader of the two Red Bull drivers, with Omar, Blaze Tim and Quentin, who started with that quali ban at the back of the field, has made his way up into the points, albeit with a penalty and a twitch there from Afonso. He's got to practically be driving on his mirrors, you'd think, with Avesta this close up behind him for this long. They both went slightly wide out of turn 10. But neither driver having any kind of issue as they come onto the straight yet again. And Avesta is a lot closer this time. He's within 3 tenths. He's going to be within 2 tenths in no time. And the move into turn 14 isn't even going to need to happen because he's ahead before, and Afonso doesn't go for a Lewis type move. He broke a bit later though and did tag the rear of the Mercedes. But they both stay in the right direction, and it doesn't seem like Afonso lost any kind of wing damage. Bino ahead of Harry still, so Aston Martin 2nd and 4th this time around. Into turn 1, Afonso stays behind. He's been in this position before around China. Felper, who's just pitted, gets himself ahead of Charlie, who came a cropper on lap 1 and had to pit onto the hards. Not the start he would have wanted. The previous race winner around this track, down in P16, as he makes a move back past Felper. A big battle going on there between himself, Liam, and the Alpine reserve as a pit. Coming to the pits is Lightning Luke on the softs. The other driver on the softs, Felper, was the first to pit out of the two of them. And the season 1 champion is finding himself in last, so finding it hard to come back into VRP after a season out, but I'm sure we'll see the best of him at some point in this race if he gets the opportunity from a safety car. As Avesta hasn't been able to drop Afonso on this lap, similar to how Afonso couldn't drop Avesta, and down the inside he went. When he went for a more aggressive approach on Avesta, first lap he had the opportunity, he gets himself back past, and can he keep it, because Avesta will have the instant buyback of DRS. Activates it, but doesn't activate the ERS. And he even backs off on the straight. He really doesn't want to go for the move there. He does not want to be the car ahead at this moment in time, and stays behind Afonso tactically. They're both dropping Bino, so if they keep working the way they are, they'll pick up a decent gap, have no worries behind them, and then both drivers will have the opportunity to go hammer and tongue for the race win. Maybe that's a strategy the two are employing. The Mercedes car versus the Mercedes work team. Avesta v Afonso, we've seen it all before, just in different colours. Bino still holding off Harry, who's dropping slightly back. Lewis is back ahead of Rapid. These two are supreme pace in this race. Darfifa hanging on as well. Omar in the top 10 with Quentin as well. He's got himself past Blaze Tim. And the two Hasses and Ducky sit just outside the top 10. I say just outside. 8 seconds off is Kinkiski from P10. But onto the straight we go. Vesta is further back from Afonso this time around. 7 tenths the gap. Enough for DRS, of course. But maybe a slightly poor lap there from the champion, because Bino was within 2 seconds this time around onto the straight. And no move doing, and I'm sure into turn 1 we won't see a dive from a driver who's been so careful in his approach so far this race. Careful is not the word I would describe Lewis's race so far. He's back ahead of Rapid after a bit of a ding-dong battle on the straight. Darfifa watching from behind as these two side by side into turn 1. Rapid looking for some sort of switchback, that wasn't doing, and had to back out. Lewis defends it, and Lewis will stay the car ahead. It's a Red Bull sandwich for Rapid. The two cars in 6th and 7th, the two cars on hard tyres, as Afonso leads Avesta on lap 12. And Harry has dropped well without the DRS from Bino. Bino, the driver who took the podium from Harry at the end, who Harry had extended his stint on that medium stint at the end for so long and was lucky not to get a puncture. Unlucky to lose the podium from Bino, who started last. Just Bino's, I believe it's his one and only podium in VRP, despite having the best quali record of any full-time driver in VRP history. Just the one podium. He will look to add to it today, and as things stand, he's on to doing that. Avesta once again, not looking to make the move on his rival in first place. He'll stick behind and into turn 1. Will he go for it this time, or will he feather off the throttle just before the braking zone? His teammate takes a penalty, and Avesta this time went for it. Always had no choice not to unless he wanted to back off, and Tim Rolfesh has had an issue. He's spun off into the gravel and trying to rejoin. Gravel on his tyres. He's spun again. Drops down to last. It's not been a race for him to remember. At least not so far. And Lewis and Rapid continuing their battle and continuing in the same order despite constant position changes from the two of them. Avesta still leading Afonso. With Bino dropping back every lap we go. Rapid, Lewis and Darfifa. This gaggle of cars has been together for a good while now. They've dropped Omar. They've been unable to catch the top 4 because of their own battles. And I'm not sure if the strategy for Rapid being on the hard tyres is to battle. Maybe he should be happy just to build up the pace with Lewis and get back towards the front, but obviously to him he thinks to keep battling is the way forward as Tim comes into the pits yet again. Will he retire his car? Will it be a double retirement for McLaren? It looks as if he is stopping to change those potentially overheated and gravel-filled tyres now, as moving over on the straight there was Lewis on Rapid, and Rapid is through, but we've seen what Lewis can do into turn 14. Doesn't go for it this time. A lock up from the Williams. And the top 3 all coming into the pits. Will either of these guys come in? No, they don't. Lewis stays out. Bino and Avesta and Afonso are all in. Avesta has stopped. Now Afonso's turn. Avesta will be cleanly ahead, and there's a front wing change for Avesta. Oh no! I'm not sure if he wanted that too much. It was not noticeable at all to his pace, and it's costed him a lot of time, more time than he'll gain having a front wing than if he just didn't change it. And of course it means Harry misses out as well. He's lost time having to sit behind Afonso through no fault of his own. The double stack going wrong at Aston Martin. The two Red Bulls side by side. Darth Vader daring to challenge Lewis, his teammate. Well, the reserve teammate to Lewis. And he's having to stay behind for now. Probably the sensible option, especially if Lewis doesn't get DRS this lap. He'll have a good opportunity to pass there. So Avesta clean out ahead in the lead now. He's almost 5 seconds clear of his net P2 rival, Bino. So, the two Red Bulls, Lewis and Darth Vader. Will we see a battle between the two? No Red Bull main driver scored a point last season, and if they battle like this, that could potentially be a record kept up. But Darth Vader to the inside gets the move done, and will Lewis come in this lap because the medium seems to be dying as Rapid ran away and Darth Vader was able to get past. They both dive into the pits, and this will be a double stack that will not go well. They're so close together, and I really don't think Lewis was expecting Darth Vader to come into the pits given he's on the hard tyres. So Lewis will lose time, similar to how we saw Harry lose. And that is very unlucky from the once race leader. Quentin as well into the pits. Rapid stays out on the hard tyres. Once again locking up into turn 6. We've seen that plenty from him. And Avesta, the net race leader, with a good margin out ahead now from Bino and Afonso. Afonso will be gutted his team decided to change his front wing, when obviously the pace really didn't seem to be affecting him whatsoever. Almost feels like a thrown away victory unless he can pull off a mega drive from here or have some sort of incident that brings out a safety car and helps him bunch back up to Avesta. He'll have Bino between the two of them, but it'll be a scenario I'm sure he'll welcome with well, I'm sure a scenario he'll welcome. Started a phrase that I didn't know the ending to. Omar with a great move on Kinkiski there. Kinkiski on 14 lap hards. Omar having just pitted. That's a tyre advantage that was clear to see. Kinkiski's teammate King Enzo also still out on those old hards. He's overtaken by Harry, and you can see the time Harry's lost with Omar now put car just behind him and Harry off the track there. And it's unfortunate for Harry, of course. Avesta now setting the fast lap on his new tyres. Rapid has come into pit. So the medium and the hards both went an equal distance. It's all about the advantage, whether you want that advantage at the start of the race or whether you want it at the end, because Darth Vader and Rapid will be flying now. Will Darth Vader have jumped Rapid? It'll be tight, but he will have done when Rapid enters the track. So further back, Lewis getting past Kinkiski, having lost the time, and into the pits comes Limhuis along with Charlie. This has not been a race to remember for the two so far. Involved in incidents in lap 1. A great quali from Limhuis as well, but the points don't seem to be coming to him from this one as things stand. No safety cars and one retirement which occurred in the pits from Vaxi. And Avesta with a healthy lead out front. Looking set to make, or to take, a record-breaking 4th win in Virtua Racing Project. All he's got to do is survive the remaining 12 laps. Easier said than done. That's just under 50% of what we've done so far. And he remains relatively unchallenged as things stand. There's a big battle further down the order, and it involves both the Alpines. Quentin's in there as well. Kinkiski's the car just ahead, giving them both DRS, and the two Alpines look to switch a position. TM Ducky is just behind Quentin, and Quentin goes for a big dive as Felper let off the throttle quite early to let his teammate through, and not only has it done that, it's let Quentin through as well, his former teammate, when they were both at McLaren together last season. Kinkiski dives off into the pits, and Blaze Tim has had a internet disconnection. Team Ducky did go into the pits as well, I was right originally, and the car that Felper just let past is now going to let Quentin and himself back past again, because he's had an unfortunate disconnect in his first ever full-time appearance. Rapid, having come out behind Darfifa, who got the undercut, is straight back through. One lap is what it took, and Rapid is on a charge to get that podium back. Alfonso will be looking in his mirrors with every lap that comes. 6 seconds back seems a big advantage, but Rapid has pace, and he's got the tyre advantage. Mediums compared to hards, and he's already cut it down to 5.8. And just from riding on board for those last few corners, you could see the kind of pace and confidence he's carrying and the determination to get a podium in that Williams. The team that finished last in the Constructors last year. Darfifa clinging on with the DRS, but I'm not sure he'll be able to make a move, and I'm not sure it's in his best interests. Rapid is on another planet in terms of pace from the rest of the field at the moment, because he's cutting that advantage down to Alfonso. And we will see a charge from him at this race. The fastest lap of the race with an overtake in that lap. A 1:33.7 is set by the 3 out of 3 race winner. King Enzo comes into the pits, and he's the last to do so. Lord Percival, who pit on lap 1, is the longest runner so far. He'll jump up a position into P12, but I'm not sure he'll gain many more unless there's others' misfortune coming into it. Blaze Tim, who's still not back in the lobby, there he is. Lags his way alongside Felper, and Felper will let him keep the position. Blaze Tim in P10, Felper in P11. Blaze Tim can maybe get after Quentin again now. The two AlphaTauris sitting in the points. Quentin, who had, I think, 2 point scores last season, had one at Kota, had the other, I believe, Monza. Sitting in the points so far in his debut for AlphaTauri, the team's champions. And Darfifa, who is dropping back from Rapid, that just shows the pace he has. Rapid, who's gained over a second on Alfonso in less than a lap. This man is quick, and he's been unleashed for the first time in this race. You don't need to ride on board with him to tell that. Not many battles going on so far, but Charlie getting past Lightning Luke is the latest overtake in this race. That was for P13, and Charlie on fresh tyres will look to charge back through the field. He's got a long way to go from the car ahead of him, Lord Percival, who will surely pit before he even catches him. Felper and Old Tide as well will likely pit as well, maybe. And then from there it's a big gap to any kind of points position. Harry, who got held up in the pits to his no fault of himself, has now got Lewis, who was also held up in the pits, right up behind him. And Lewis, who was holding himself up, battling Rapid. He has been unleashed, and he has now been able to catch Harry, which he couldn't do in that first stint because of the battle. And he goes for the move already. Bit of a switchback, and he gets the move done. A great move from himself. The only problem with that now is he'll have Harry with DRS behind him, but we've seen what Lewis can do when a car behind him has that DRS advantage. And well, Lewis has a pace advantage, as he's already broken over half a second clear of Harry. When the DRS is activated, what can the Aston Martin do? He even feathers off the throttle. He doesn't want that position back. He doesn't want to be involved in any kind of battle. I think he's happy with his P7 place at the moment. He's happy to accept that. And maybe a smart choice. We've seen the way Lewis will battle tooth and nail for a position, no matter what position it is. And Lewis will get after any more positions he can with his kind of pace. Talking of pace, rapid, well, the name speaks for itself. 2.7 the gap to the car ahead now. He can see Afonso getting closer and closer every lap. And I'm sure Afonso can just feel him getting closer and closer every lap. It's not DRS advantage, it's not DRS distance yet, but my word, will Afonso be worried? And will he be ruining the fact that his team decided to change his seemingly fine front wing in the pit stop? I mean, we saw the tag he had with the Festa into turn 14, sorry. But there really didn't seem to be any damage. Not pace-wise anyway, and it's costed him today. He hasn't been able to gain too much on Bino, if anything. And the time he's losing to Rapid is large. The field all currently spread out in a way that no one is within DRS. And look at the track map at the bottom. When I say they're spread out, wow, that is ridiculous. The closest to being King Kiski from TM Ducky, being at a 1.1 interval between the two of them, but with every meter that Rapid drives, that advantage is coming down, and I'm sure that will take the pole for being the closest margin soon enough. 10 positions gained for Darth FIFA, equalled by Quinton. 12 lost for Limhuis. And Charlie, Limhuis and Tim Rolfes the only to make 2 stops. Not the strategy you want to make. Blaze Tim will now make 2 stops as well. He's abandoned his strategy to go for a soft run at the end now. He was sitting P10, so it's an interesting call to go for that. A bold call, to say the least. But he's out on those softs, ahead of TM Ducky, who's also on some softs. And for the last 7 laps of this race, he will charge after the positions he lost from pitting to try and get P10 back. The position he had comfortably, so like I say, a strange choice. Harry has had a moment. Riding a wall with Omar, we see how Harry has stopped on track. I'm not too sure what that was for, but yeah, Harry, having been sensible earlier, happy with the P7 position, not battling with Lewis, has given himself a bit more concern, losing the position to Omar with a spin, no doubt. Rapid is now within the concerns of Afonso because he's within the DRS, and next lap we come, surely we'll see this Williams putting itself up onto the podium and then getting after Bino, who will be becoming increasingly worried. And the more this comes on, he'll be hoping that Afonso can be the Minister of Defence for this podium. Bino on for his best finish. And when I said Bino only had 1 podium, I believe he got 1 in Season 1, so my apologies, I'm pretty sure he got 1 in Season 1, so this will be his 3rd podium in VRP. Lord Percival does come into the pits on 19 lap hards, that was inevitable. And when I said Charlie had an effort to get into the points, because Blaze Tim has pit, if he can stay ahead of that charging Alpine, a points position is not too unlikely for Bino's teammate, 4.4 behind Felper, who's on very old hards, having started on the softs and looking to go to the end. On the hardest compound, right behind Afonso, also on the hardest compound, is Rapid on the mediums, and when they come to the DRS, it will be an easy overtake. The ERS is already enabled for the Williams driver. There's not much Afonso can do. Watching from the rear wing, watching from the front onboard, you can see Rapid down the inside locking the wheels, and through he goes. Afonso will have the chance to reply. Neither driver with any real ERS advantage on the other, both trying to save something, but when we get into the DRS zone, Afonso will give it everything. He'll try to get to the inside. Rapid defended that with everything he had. The two battling it out into turn 1 and 2. But Rapid looks like he's got it. Afonso with a dive to the inside, a desperate dive. He'll then turn to the outside, and couldn't get a switchback, which he can't do. it means Rapid will keep the position. A bit of a weave there from Rapid. And Afonso, well, he had no choice but to dive it there, and he's actually got the position. A bit of contact, but not much barging. Neither being forced off the track. But when it comes to traction, the mediums are going to be better than the hards, especially when they're fresher. And Rapid breezes back past Afonso despite the dive. If Afonso can stay within DRS range, he'll have another chance. But that will be a challenge to do. He'll be within DRS range. If he'll be close enough will be another question, especially through a corner with such little traction like the one coming up. Turns 12 and 13. The gap 0.4, that will be close enough if he can keep it through here with dirty air. It's 0.5 the gap. He's used every bit of ERS he owns. Luckily for him, Rapid is also very low on it and saving as he comes along the straight. The DRS gets Afonso closer and closer, and when he goes for the move, he's alongside, looking to turning in ahead of Rapid, and Bino is very, very pleased that this battle will go on because it saves himself from Rapid charging up to him. To the outside, Rapid goes for turn 1, and I'm not sure Afonso can do much here. He takes the position, and Afonso looking for any kind of dive, defended by Rapid. Can he make the same dive he did into turn 6? Whilst it wasn't successful, it kept itself close enough to make the move down the DRS straight. Albeit he didn't end up keeping the position, and Omar has brought out the safety car with just 5 laps to go. In a very, very strange place to have an incident, Harry has also had his own incident. Well, I don't know what's happened, but Omar on this straight just now has crashed before the corner, and Harry is out as well. It must be an incident between the two drivers. Harry, who's manually retired, and that'll be a penalty coming his way, has helped in bringing out the safety car. You'd have to expect, because it's on a straight. Omar could not have retired on his own, you'd have to think, without any kind of lapse of concentration. Surely within the battle the two have come together, brought Omar into a wall, and Harry to a resounding end as well, with potential damage. What's done is given the opportunity for drivers to pit. The safety car didn't catch the leaders, so everyone will have the opportunity to ditch their tyres and go to softs. Rapid and Bino and Afonso, the race win, stares them in the face, and staring Felper in the face is an almighty penalty that puts an end to his chances. P8 he was sitting, a great position to try and take something from this race, despite starting last and speeding on the safety car. Means he will lose any chance at points, you'd have to say. Disappointing for the Swede. Into the pits come every single leader. Avesta, Bino, Rapid is in as well. Afonso, Darth FIFA onto the softs. Lewis, who had been held up because of the double stack, won't lose the position from it. And Quentin up to P7 with a penalty though. That will hurt him with the safety car. He'll be pitting as well. Lightning Luke's made his way back into the points as well. Or I say back in the points, he wasn't in the points, but driver is calibre, you'd always expect he would be. And Charlie has made his way into the points as well, through the retirements of others. TM Ducky behind decides to stay out, despite being on the 7 lap, 8 lap old tyres. He jumps a few, and he's up to P9, but on much older soft compound tyres. So the first safety car of season 3, it took a while to come, but on lap 23 an incident between Omar and Harry brings it out, and well, we will have a dash to the line. A late safety car always brings drama with it, and any driver within that top 6 will be eyeing victory. Rapid, who had the momentum, who had such good pace, he's got to be one of the favourites. Avesta, who had been cruising to victory really, will have to refocus and go again. So, another lap on the safety car. I have to predict we might get another one just after this as well, with Tim Rollfish desperately clamouring to catch the safety car again, and King Enzo coming back into the pits for another set of softs. Wasn't happy with the set he had on. And will he keep the position from Tim Rollfish? It doesn't look like he will. No, he won't. He drops to the last car in the pack. So the order under restart will be Avesta from Bino, Rapid, Afonso, Darfifa in the top 5, with Lewis in P6, Quentin in P7, Charlie made his way up into the points with the safety car coming in this lap, TM Ducky, who doesn't seem to be in the session, which is a shame, but he's in P9, Felper in P10, who has the drive through. That's a proper shame to see, but his good mate Lord Percival just up behind him will look to take advantage of that. Blaze Tim's strategy call, well, it was cut short, but he's got another chance at it. He's in P12. Lightning Luke back down to P13, having now pitted. King Kiski, Limhuis, Tim Rollfish, King Enzo will also be looking up to pick up the pieces and scrap for those points positions. Anything can happen under a late safety car, and they're both even trying to clamber towards the back of the safety car queue anyway. I'm sure they will. And I have been informed that Omar and Harry did have an incident together, Harry accepting blame and retiring due to it. A shame to see for the AlphaTauri team, who were doing the business in the lower points regions. Avesta has gone though, and with 2 laps to go, we have a mad dash to the finish, the checkered flag, as Felper instantly comes into service drive-through, so gets out of the way sportingly of the other drivers. And Avesta had a good restart, Bino had a decent restart, Rapid had a rapid restart. He's onto the back of the Alfa Romeo and looking to pick up a 4th win out of 4. He wants to keep his win record up. He's never raced in VRP without winning. And will he achieve that yet again? It would take a hell of a drive. He'd have to dispatch Bino fast. But he's got Afonso on the back of him. Afonso will be driving angry, having his team throw away a potential victory in the pit stops, having missed out so closely on the victory here last season as well. Having missed out on the title last season, he wants to be the one to take advantage of any bad luck he's had in the past. It's Avesta from Bino, from Rapid from Afonso, nose to tail, Darfifa dropping back a bit with his teammate Lewis behind, Quentin in the junior team just behind that with a penalty, so he needs to make the advantage behind. He's done somewhat of that, dropped Charlie and Lord Percival and Blaze Tim by over a second from each other. But at the front, Bino won't turn this opportunity down as he fakes a move to the outside to go to the inside, shuffles it up, Avesta's off the track, and when that comes to it, Rapid with the switchback can possibly take advantage. Avesta dived it to the inside, that forces him off the track. Bino had to back out, and Rapid has the lead of the race with the fastest lap. Darfifa takes the fastest lap, but at the front, it's Afonso back up into P2. He moved ahead of Bino, going around the outside of Avesta. The Season 2 champion side by side with Afonso, who now gets to the inside. The traction comes And Afonso's the one who gets the advantage from it. Tim Rollfish is out of the race in the pits. He's retired. Potential wing damage on the restart for him. Unlucky. A race to forget. But Rapid is the one who is taking the lead and looks if he can complete this final lap where there'll be no DRS activated. He'll get 4 wins from 4 races in VRP, his first as a full-time driver in the Williams team. Afonso with a twitchy moment. Well, it's all getting to them. Afonso, Avesta, Bino scrapping for that 2 positions on the podium remaining. Darfifa and Lewis have even got themselves up there in the battle. Afonso won't have given up on eyes of the victory. Avesta, who had the victory in his hands until the safety car came out, is down to P3 and will be gutted if he can't get it back. But with just 2 corners to go, it will be unlikely as they come to those last 2 corners. No DRS, of course. And neither drivers at the front having any kind of ERS to spend either. Is Avesta, who's going for the inside on Afonso. He wants to position back. The 2 Red Bulls battling as well. Lewis side by side with Darfifa going to the inside. Avesta has got past Afonso, and Bino just behind isn't going to get onto the podium, but to the line they come. Rapid completes a 4 out of 4 win streak for himself. Avesta on the podium with Afonso. Bino just missing out on a 3rd career podium. And the 2 Red Bulls finishing side by side, 5th and 6th. Darfifa ahead of Lewis. Charlie recovers at the end to come home with an unbelievable P7, having run in no man's land at the bottom of the field for the majority of the race. Quentin P8 having his penalty affect his position, and the 2 Ferraris pick up points. Lord Percival and Lightning Luke with a great drive to stay in the race, despite it looking gone for them at periods. They both had an incident on lap 1 together, and they both come home 9th and 10th to pick up the pieces. But it's a race win for Rapid. We've said that before. We've said that 4 times now. And he's only raced 4 times. This man is quick. And wow, he has to be the favourite for the title after this race. He floats above the podium. And he floats above the rest of the drivers in the standings now. 25 points go his way, and the Williams team celebrate a victory which they have not had in VRP history. They add themselves to the winners list, and I believe it's now just Haas, the one team who are yet to score a victory in VRP. Avesta and Afonso joined him on that podium. Bino missing out in P4, the pole sitter dropping down. Avesta, who had the victory in his hands until that late safety car, will be gutted, but he picked up the pieces to come home in P2 in the end. Darfifa with a great drive, 15th to 5th, with the fastest lap, 11 points for himself. Lewis, the first Red Bull main driver to score points since Season 1, when the lineup featured Dolga and Sultan, with Charlie in P7, the other Alfa Romeo picking up points. Quentin pick up the pieces following Omar's unfortunate retirement, but he scores points for the team's champions. Just the 3rd time he's been able to do that in VRP. Lord Percival, well, with him, anytime he's ever finished a race in VRP, he's finishing the points, and he rescued that streak at the end, albeit thanks to a safety car. And Lightning Luke on return as a reserve, a Season 1 champion, when he gets a point. Maybe not what he wanted from the race, but it's a point for Ferrari and a point for himself as a reserve. So that's round 1 over with in Season 3. It picked up at the end. It was a consistent race throughout. It's a great race to come back on. We'll have Season 2 next week, and that will be at the ever reliable, fun-packed circuit at Qatar. And then we will say goodbye for a 2-week break for Christmas and New Year's before coming back in early January in 2 weeks after round 2 for round 3. But until then, we will see you in Qatar next week, same time. Goodbye all.